Ambassador Volkov's son, Dmitri Volkov, strode into Judge Caprio's courtroom like a man convinced the rules of an entire nation bent politely out his way. Everything about him screamed curated superiority. The razor-cut European suit, the gleaming Swiss timepiece, the Italian leather shoes polished to a diplomat's shine. But the real accessory he believed made him invincible wasn't wearable. It was clutched in his hand, a deep red diplomatic passport stamped with the golden crest of the Russian Federation. His expression practically announced, "I am protected by international agreements your little municipal courtroom can't even pronounce." And why wouldn't he think that? His father, Ambassador Sergei Volkov, had been Moscow's representative to the United States for more than 30 years, a career diplomat steeped in protocol, immunity, and a belief that consequences are things that happen to other people. So, what brought Dmitri here? Simple and horrifying. He'd barreled through Providence at 80 miles per hour, blasted through a red light, and slammed into a pedestrian who was legally crossing the street. Michael Torres, a 34-year-old elementary school teacher, was thrown 15 feet, collapsing to the pavement with a broken leg, internal injuries, and blood pooling around him. Dmitri stepped out, glanced at the bleeding man, then got back into his luxury car and drove straight to the Russian embassy. There, he invoked diplomatic immunity and refused to answer to anyone. And now he was here, smugly prepared to flash his passport, smirk at the bench, and stroll out, the American justice system left looking powerless. He even had the nerve to tell Judge Caprio that a municipal judge had no jurisdiction over someone protected by international treaties. But Dmitri had forgotten one crucial truth. Frank Caprio doesn't just enforce municipal law, he enforces justice. And when diplomatic immunity is used as a shield for reckless, life-threatening behavior, even global agreements start to crack. What Judge Caprio is about to do will ricochet through the U.S. State Department, ignite an international standoff, destroy Ambassador Volkov's career, and prove that some crimes are so serious even diplomatic privilege can't smother them. If you're still watching, stay with this story. Hit like, settle in, because what comes next is a full-scale collision between diplomatic power and unshakable justice. It's 9:45 a.m., Tuesday morning, Providence Municipal Court. Federal marshals line the back wall. State Department officials are scattered through the gallery. Russian embassy staff watch with crossed arms. Whatever this is, it's not a normal day in court. The bailiff's voice boomed through the courtroom. State of Rhode Island versus Dmitri Sergeyevich Volkov. Dmitri entered, flanked by 3 high-powered attorneys. At the helm was Marcus Whitmore, an international law shark whose fees alone could bankroll a small embassy. Judge Caprio looked up from his bench. "Good morning, Mr. Volkov." Dmitri offered a slight nod. "Good morning, Judge." No proper decorum, Caprio noted silently, but he stayed composed. "Mr. Volkov," the judge began, "you're charged with reckless driving, leaving the scene of an accident involving serious injury and failure to render aid. Before we proceed, I want to address your claim of diplomatic immunity." Whitmore rose smoothly. "Your Honor, my client is the son of Ambassador Sergei Volkov. Under the Vienna Convention, Article 37, family members of diplomatic agents enjoy the same immunities. Therefore, this court lacks jurisdiction." Caprio glanced at the diplomatic passport resting on the desk. "Mr. Whitmore, I am familiar with the Vienna Convention. Diplomatic immunity exists to facilitate diplomatic functions, not to shield criminal conduct." "Respectfully, Your Honor," Whitmore shot back, "the immunity is comprehensive. My client cannot be prosecuted in American courts." Dmitri leaned back, the picture of confidence. He had danced around laws like this before, and he expected to do it again. Judge Caprio fixed him with a calm stare. "Mr. Volkov, do you understand the charges against you?" Dmitri's voice carried a faint edge of dismissal. "I understand that your court believes it is charges, but as my attorney explained, this is jurisdictional. Under international law, you cannot prosecute me. This hearing should not even be happening." Caprio's tone hardened, though still measured. "A man was seriously injured. You left him bleeding on the street. You don't think that warrants an explanation?" Dmitri shrugged. "Judge, I sympathize with Mr. Torres's injuries, but my status under international law is clear. This court has no authority to compel me. So, the judge pressed, "You're using diplomatic immunity to avoid explaining why you left an injured man? I am asserting my legal rights under international treaty." "There is a difference," Dmitri replied smoothly. The prosecutor stood, voice sharp. "Your Honor, the state disagrees. When a crime of this magnitude occurs, there are mechanisms to challenge immunity. Whitmore was immediate and unyielding. Diplomatic immunity can only be waived by the sending state. Russia has explicitly refused. This court is powerless." Dmitri added with a faint smirk, "Judge, perhaps we can end this now. You have no..." Caprio's eyes didn't flinch. This was going to be one for the history books. Dmitri leaned back, voice steady, eyes cool. "This is international law. My father represents the Russian Federation. I am protected by treaties your government considers binding. Can we conclude?" Judge Caprio's voice cut through the courtroom with calm authority. "Mr. Volkov, before I make any determination, I want to review the evidence, regardless of diplomatic status. Understanding the facts is essential." The monitors flickered to life. Traffic camera footage filled the screen. A busy Providence intersection. 3:47 p.m. Children walking home from school. Then, a black Mercedes blurs through at 80 miles per hour, ignoring the red light entirely. It strikes Michael Torres in the crosswalk, sending him flying 15 feet, landing hard on the asphalt. The car coasts to a stop 50 feet away. Dmitri steps out, casually walking toward Michael, who lies bleeding as bystanders rush to help. "You hit him! Help him!" someone shouts. Dmitri pulls out his phone, seemingly taking a photo. He surveys the crowd with faint smirk, then walks back to his car and drives off. The entire sequence lasts less than 90 seconds. Caprio pauses the video. The courtroom goes silent. Dmitri glances at his watch, composed as ever. "Mr. Volkov, that video shows you hitting a pedestrian at extreme speed, stopping briefly, observing him injured, and then driving away without rendering aid. Is that accurate?" Dmitri raises a hand before his attorney can speak. "Judge, I was driving. There was an impact. I stopped to assess. Other people were calling for help. I could provide no medical assistance. So I left. This is not crime in Russia." "We are not in Russia, Mr. Volkov." Caprio countered, unwavering. "No, but I am Russian. I am the son of a Russian ambassador. Russian law applies to me, even on American soil. This is what diplomatic immunity means." A moment to breathe. If you believe diplomatic immunity shouldn't protect hit-and-run drivers, leaving victims bleeding in American streets, this is a time to subscribe to Judge Stories. "Miss Walsh, you mentioned body camera footage?" Caprio asked. "Yes, Your Honor," she responded. "Officer Martinez at the Russian Embassy captured it. The black Mercedes is inside embassy grounds. Providence police approached, asking to speak with the driver regarding a hit-and-run. Embassy security responded, 'This is Russian sovereign territory. You cannot enter.' The footage shows Dmitri holding his diplomatic passport. 'Sir, you were involved in a hit-and-run. A pedestrian was seriously injured. Come with me to the station.' Dmitri lifts his passport, voice dripping condescension. 'Officer, I am Dmitri Volkov, son of Ambassador Sergei Volkov. This grants me diplomatic immunity. I am not subject to arrest or prosecution.' 'Sir, someone was seriously hurt. You left the scene.' Dmitri's smile widens, almost mocking. 'Officer, international law is very clear. I have complete immunity. You cannot arrest me. You cannot charge me. You cannot detain me for questioning without Russian Federation consent, which you will never receive.' The courtroom feels the weight of audacity. Dmitri Volkov truly believed he was untouchable. But Judge Caprio was just getting started. 'Sir, don't you want to explain what happened? Don't you care that someone was hurt?' The officer pressed. Dmitri's tone was icy, detached. 'Officer, many people are hurt daily in traffic accidents. It is unfortunate, but my status does not change based on accident severity. I am protected by treaties your government signed. This is not my rule, it is yours. So, you're refusing to cooperate? The officer demanded. I am asserting my legal rights. There is no investigation that can proceed against me. You're a judge, your prosecutors, your entire legal system has no jurisdiction. I could walk out onto that street right now and you could not touch me. That is what diplomatic immunity means. Sir, a man is in the hospital with serious injuries. Dmitri's voice turned cold, almost callous. Then perhaps that man should have been more careful crossing. I had the right of way. You ran a red light. According to American police, American cameras, none of this applies to me. I answer only to Russian law. Russia has declined to waive my immunity. He leaned back, smirking. So, Officer Martinez, unless you want an international incident, I suggest you leave and inform your superiors this matter is closed. Sir, this isn't over. Dmitri laughed, a chilling, dismissive sound. Officer, it never began. You have no authority here. Go tell your judge that Dmitri Volkov says hello, and that he can do nothing. Nothing at all. The video ended. Silence fell over the courtroom. Dmitri sat, perfectly composed, as if the outrage around him didn't exist. Judge Caprio slowly removed his glasses, eyes fixed on him. Mr. Volkov, you just watched yourself hit a pedestrian at high speed, flee the scene, and mock the investigating officer. You showed no remorse. Is that accurate? Dmitri nodded, unwavering. Yes, Judge. I am above American law. Not because I am arrogant, but because international treaties say I am. Your country signed those treaties. So yes, I am above your jurisdiction. This is legal fact. Caprio leaned forward, scanning the documentation before him. Mr. Volkov, you are correct that diplomatic immunity is a serious legal doctrine, but you are wrong about one critical thing. Dmitri's confident posture falters, a flicker of doubt crossing his face. What is that? He asks, voice tightening. You are wrong in thinking immunity is the same as impunity. Diplomatic immunity exists to facilitate diplomatic relations, not to allow diplomats to commit crimes without consequences. For the first time, the veneer of untouchable superiority in Dmitri's eyes wavers. The courtroom leans in, sensing the first crack in what he believed was absolute power. Your Honor, the Vienna Convention does not include that distinction. The immunity is absolute. Dmitri's lawyer, Whitmore, spoke with unwavering confidence. Judge Caprio's eyes narrowed, voice calm but cutting. Mr. Whitmore, I am aware of the Vienna Convention. I am also aware of what basic human decency requires. Mr. Volkov, do you know what happened to Michael Torres? Dmitri shrugged as if bored. I assume he went to a hospital. Caprio's tone hardened, deliberate. Michael Torres is a 34-year-old elementary school teacher teaching 4th grade. He was walking home from school when you struck him at 80 miles per hour. He has a broken femur, 3 fractured ribs, internal bleeding, and traumatic brain injury. He spent 2 weeks in intensive care. He will likely never walk without a limp and may never return to teaching. And you left him bleeding. Dmitri's expression did not change. This is unfortunate, but my diplomatic status means your court cannot hold me responsible. Caprio's voice dropped, quiet but firm. Mr. Volkov, I have been on this bench over 30 years. I've shown mercy to people who made mistakes. I've given second chances to those who showed remorse. But I have never seen someone use international law as a weapon to avoid basic human accountability. He picked up his phone. Please get me the United States Department of State, Office of Foreign Missions. Immediately, tell them this is Judge Frank Caprio regarding a diplomatic immunity case requiring urgent review. The courtroom erupted. Dmitri's confident smirk vanished. Whitmore looked stunned. Your Honor, you cannot involve the State Department in a municipal proceeding. Whitmore was cut off. Caprio's voice was unwavering. When someone uses diplomatic immunity to escape accountability for a hit and run that nearly killed an American citizen, it becomes a federal concern. The State Department can review immunity claims and request waivers. Dmitri stood, pale and alarmed. Judge, you cannot do this. This is interference with diplomatic relations. My father will file a protest. Caprio's gaze was steady. Your father can file whatever he wants, Mr. Volkov, but a man is in a hospital bed because of your actions, and you've shown zero remorse. Within minutes, Caprio was on speaker with Deputy Assistant Secretary Catherine Morrison. The conversation began. Judge Caprio. Yes, Madam Secretary. I have a diplomatic immunity case that warrants urgent review. Caprio detailed the hit and run, Michael Torres's injuries, Dmitri's mocking attitude, and Russia's refusal to waive immunity. He requested a formal U.S. review and a diplomatic request to Russia to waive immunity. Judge Caprio, you're requesting the U.S. formally ask Russia to waive diplomatic immunity for Ambassador Volkov's son? Correct, Madam Secretary. This is highly unusual. We generally don't intervene unless there are extraordinary circumstances. A hit and run leaving a teacher with permanent injuries, followed by mocking law enforcement, qualifies. There was a pause. Russia will almost certainly refuse. I understand, but the request must be made. If immunity is to shield Mr. Volkov, it should follow a thorough review. Give me 24 hours. I'll review the evidence and personally oversee the waiver request. Judge Caprio turned back to Dmitri. Mr. Volkov, this hearing is continued for 72 hours pending State Department review. You are not to leave Rhode Island. Dmitri's pale face betrayed his panic. My diplomatic status allows me to travel freely. If you attempt to leave the country, your diplomatic passport will be flagged at all ports of exit. Over the next 72 hours, the State Department reviewed the footage, interviewed Michael Torres, consulted legal experts, and formally requested Russia waive Dmitri's immunity. Russia initially refused. The story went viral. Footage of Dmitri hitting Michael and mocking Officer Martinez spread worldwide. Public outrage surged. Congressional representatives demanded answers. Hundreds of protest calls flooded the Russian embassy. Then, the breakthrough came. Ambassador Sergei Volkov himself appeared. 72 hours later, court reconvened. This time, a distinguished man in his 60s approached the bench. Your Honor, I am Ambassador Sergei Volkov. I request permission to address the court. You're welcome to speak, Ambassador. I have served the Russian Federation for 32 years, representing my country with honor in 8 nations. I have never been more ashamed than today. I have watched the videos of my son's actions. I have read Michael Torres's medical reports. I have seen my son mock American law enforcement and show no remorse for nearly killing an innocent man. This is not the son I raised. This is not what Russian diplomacy stands for. Dmitri, you have dishonored me. You have dishonored Russia. You have dishonored diplomatic service. He pulled out an official document. Your Honor, after reviewing this case and at my personal request, the Russian Federation is voluntarily waiving diplomatic immunity for my son for purposes of American prosecution related to the hit and run. The courtroom erupted. Dmitri jumped up. Father, you cannot do this. Ambassador Volkov's response was icy. I am not ending your protection. Dmitri, you ended it when you hit that man and drove away. When you showed the world you believe yourself above human decency. Russia does not protect criminals. We protect diplomats. You are not a diplomat. You are a disgrace. Judge Caprio accepted the waiver. Ambassador Volkov, this is unprecedented. Thank you for your integrity. The ambassador spoke again, resolute. Effective immediately, I am resigning as ambassador to the United States. My son used his connection to commit a crime and avoid accountability. That is on me. I failed as a father. Now, I am ensuring he faces the consequences he deserves. Ambassador Volkov departed with dignity. Dmitri was left alone. No immunity, no shield, no protection. Caprio's gaze locked on him. Mr. Volkov, now that your immunity has been waived by your own government, this court has full jurisdiction. How do you plead? Dmitri's attorney tried to intervene. Your Honor, we request time. No more lawyers. No more delays. Dmitri interrupted quietly. He looked at the judge. Guilty, Your Honor. Caprio's verdict was swift. For leaving the scene of an accident causing serious injury, you are sentenced to 2 years in a Rhode Island correctional facility. Additionally, You are fined $100,000 to be paid directly to Michael Torres for medical expenses. You are permanently banned from receiving any diplomatic credentials or immunity. Upon completion of your sentence, you will be deported to Russia and permanently barred from re-entering the United States. Dmitri collapsed, stunned. 2 years in prison, $100,000 in fines. Permanent exile, a life of privilege ended. 3 months later, Michael Torres was released from the hospital. He walked with a cane, forever changed but alive. He returned to teaching 4th grade. I'm not happy anyone is in prison, but I'm grateful that justice works even when it has to cross international borders. Judge Caprio proved that no one, regardless of their diplomatic passport, is above basic human decency. 2 years later, Dmitri was released and deported to Russia. He would never return to America. But the arrogance was gone. He now worked with traffic safety organizations in Moscow, speaking about reckless driving and limits of diplomatic protection. He wrote to Michael Torres, "Mr. Torres, I know you may never forgive me, but because of Judge Caprio, my father, and the American justice system, I finally understand what I took from you. I am spending the rest of my life trying to prevent others from making my mistakes." Michael never responded, but he kept a letter, a reminder that justice, when it works properly, doesn't just punish, it transforms. If you enjoyed this story, like and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Stay safe, stay just, and stay healthy.